I give my message. It's important I recognize the presence in the House of the Deputy Government Chief Whip of the National Assembly of Zambia. It's my pleasure to introduce him to you and to the good people of Ghana, since he's on a steady visit which will last for 5 good days. It's in the person of Honorable Princess Kasuni. Sorry, I was using the he for her. She is here to interact with her counterpart, learn best practice, and exchange ideas on issues relating to the handling of the Whip's office. The visit is also intended to create a platform for networking between honorable members and our Zambian counterparts, with the aim of deepening relations between the two legislatures. Honorable Princess Kusani is accompanied by 2 officials of the National Assembly. I want her to stand up to be recognized by all of you again. I mean, Honorable Princess Kusani. You have seen how gorgeously she's attired. The other 2 officials of the National Assembly of Zambia are Mr. Tienison Nyanku, who is the Principal Clerk, Journals and Table Office. And the second person is Mrs. Cynthia Chibali, a Senior International Relations Assistant. Honorable members, on behalf of this House, I welcome them and wish them fruitful deliberations and a pleasant stay in our beautiful country. You are most welcome. I took note of the privilege given the leaders to give welcome remarks, of their penchant to veer into very controversial areas. But that is a signal of what we all are expecting, and I believe that, as they stated, we turn a new leaf of life in the House. Honorable members, today marks the first sitting Honorable members, today marks the first sitting of the first meeting of the second session of the 8th Parliament of the Fourth Republic of Ghana. It is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to this meeting from the short Yuletide recess. I acknowledge the hectic but joyous time you had with your constituents, and I know from experience how stressful it has been for you to tour your constituencies. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to commend you highly for discharging a crucial duty of an MP, the duty to reach out, interact, and explain government policies and their impact and effect on the people and country. Whilst performing this duty, you also listened to the concerns and views of the people, and in fact, tapped from the collective wisdom of the constituents you voluntarily and willingly decided to lead to make their lives better. I am sure you are now renewed and energized by the expectations, hopes, and aspirations of the people you represent. In doing this, you also demonstrated a practical aspect of a perspective of the representative function of Parliament, and why the MP is referred to as a representative of the constituency and the people. You represent the people. This House represents the people. And I want to take this opportunity to say, Aiko Yagarbanya Mia Wale Doji Sanda Kokeri Anyeko. You may add the rest. Honorable members, as leaders of your people, you need to be supported to perform this function effectively and ethically to inspire many more up-and-coming youth to be motivated to see politics as an honorable career or profession. This underscores the urgency for the provision of offices, not the use of private residences, as we have now. The provision of open, lawful, and verifiable sources of funding, not funding from opaque sources or money bags, and the support of technical staff, not party apparatchiks or activists only. You need these to assist you in the performance of this arduous duty. Unless we are not interested in ethical governance, which is premised on open, transparent, and accountable leadership. Honorable members, this is the Parliament of Ghana. It's a unique made in Ghana product, and we must showcase and market it to the world as a brand. We must create a unique set of values and norms that will give a unique character to our Parliament to set it apart from the colonial legacies of the British system. My outfit today as the Speaker and presiding officer is to set in motion that agenda. The practice of MPs decently dressed in traditional attire, led by the Speaker, is long overdue. Ghanaians accept representation of the people to include representation of the full identity of the Ghanaian. That is the culture, tradition, and more importantly, their dress code. I am glad that this decision accords with some of the propositions of the first President of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and the other founding members of the Parliament of the First Republic. The dominant dress code of members of the National Assembly of Independent Ghana was native costume. Where we got it wrong, I don't know. The Speaker of the First Parliament, for example, of the First Republic of this country, that is 1960 to 1965, the Right Honorable Joseph Richard Asedu appreciated and in fact practiced it. And people could cross-check from history. Honorable members, the robe, that is the long gown, the headgear, the bib, these constitute the ceremonial dress of the Speaker. We inherited it from the British. This ceremonial dress was to be worn to distinguish the Speaker from members and to reflect the pomp and pageantry of special national occasions. It was therefore meant to be worn on only those special occasions. The ceremonial dress is not meant to be a daily apparel of the Speaker. Even the British have long abandoned this code. Ghana has long abandoned only the headgear and the bib. Honorable members, I assure you, we are not on a walk in the park in this matter. We are not on the walk in the park in the journey of renaissance and transformation alone. We have a lot of followers and supporters in this matter. It is with this I happily invite all of you to wear Ghana, grow Ghana, eat Ghana, brand Ghana, and transform Ghana. From now on, I want to see more members appear in Parliament decently adorned in traditional dress. I actually have taken note long ago of some members in this House who have already practiced it for a long time. I think some members will still need to change from yesteryears. Honorable members, I call on you to dig deep into the wealth of your innate wisdom and to let us do this together in peace, joy, love, and respect for the diversity of cultures, traditions, and way of dressing in the country. All I have to tell the leaders, particularly the whips, definitely led by my good self, us the dress code of being prim, prompt, and decent in your appearance. Since this meeting commences the second year of the implementation of the decision of the 2020 general elections of a hung parliament, and in view of the challenges we encountered in the first session, I deem it necessary to be more I take it again, to take this opportunity to throw more light on the need for Ghanaians to be more tolerant to what happens in Parliament and to appreciate the essence of the decision in the 2020 election. Later, during the course of the week, I'll provide an opportunity for us to do a review of our performance in the first session of this Parliament, which is 2021. Honorable members, beloved Ghanaians, the results of the 2020 elections brought a new era of political engagement. In effect, the character and norms of the power game changed, especially in Parliament. The ultra-majoritarian rule, where the majority party marshals its numerical strength to back the president's policy or program, leaving no space for dialogue, compromise, and consensus building, is no more. The outcome of the elections signifies two things. First, a rejection of the practice of blind, unbridled, and excessive partisanship in politics. The winner-take-all option. That is a significant change. And two, the blind partisan opposition and obstruction of government policy. That too, Yamutu. The preference, according to Ghanaians, is for the practice of dialogue, cooperation, consultation, compromise, and consensus building. The clarion call of our dear nation today is now Ghana first. Everything else second. Not party first. Not government first. Not opposition first. Not speaker first, but Ghana first. Honorable members, the product of a ham parliament marks a clear departure from the mantle, I quote, "Let the minority have its way, let the minority have its say, and the majority its way." Honorable members, I'm watching those of you who have decided to constitute yourselves into groups to converse and not listen to the speaker. Honorable members, this House is meant for serious business. I believe in ultimate responsibility. And even though all these things that happened, I was not on the chair. Those who were on the chair were only exercising delegated authority. The ultimate person responsible is me, the Speaker, and I take responsibility. That is why earlier on I kept on apologizing to the good people of Ghana. With that ultimate responsibility, I will not only be using the carrot, I will also be cracking the whip. Honorable members, democracy has long gone beyond majority rule to participatory and inclusive governance. A type of governance where both the majority and minority will have their say, but the national interest will have its way. I think Ghanaians are right to move along with this improved system of governance. And I believe that is the future of democratic governance in the world. In fact, this decision gave Ghana a pride of place in the celebration to mark the 60th anniversary of diplomatic relations with Denmark. I had the singular honor to participate in a global panel discussion on the topic, inclusive party governance and the future of democracy, as part of the celebration. The commendation of that decision was taken note during that virtual discussion, and Ghana was highly pleased. Let us don't belittle that achievement. Neither should we blot the shine that the people has bestowed on this country. Honorable members, we should not also forget that this is in tune with the spirit and letter of the 1992 Constitution. The 1992 Constitution creates an opportunity for either a majority or a minority government, or even an opportunity for an independent president to rule this country. And so if you are going by majority rule and you elect an independent president, it means you have no rule. If you are going by the majority rule and you have a president with minority members of parliament, it means there will be no rule. That is not what is encapsulated in the 1992 Constitution. The concept of governance that we opted for is to create room, not for minority rule, not for majority rule, but for participatory and inclusive governance. It is important, as a people and nation, we take serious note of these possibilities and work on the state of our mindsets, our conduct and attitudes to accept any of these decisions when so decided by the electorate of this country. Unfortunately, teething problems and challenges of definition of the concept and practice of such a system and applying current rules to a new order will rear their ugly heads. And you can see in the remarks of the leaders, our attention was drawn to some of the gray areas of interpretation of the existing law, both constitutional and the standing orders of the House. Honorable members, fellow guardians, these ugly heads would definitely produce friction and uncertainty in the initial stages. These are part of the transitional problems and challenges, and that should not deter us as a people or country from doing what is right and just for the country. What is right is enjoined by Chapter 6 of the 1992 Constitution, that is the Directive Principles of State Policy, and that is to establish and practice a just, balanced, open, transparent, fair, and free governance. That is what can create a just and free society. The country could only achieve this when Parliament matures into an autonomous organ of states, able to define its relationship with the executive as one of equal and coordinate powers of government. This is the only way to sustain, consolidate, and secure multi-party democracy in Ghana. It is there and then that the dividends of democracy could accrue and seep down to the ordinary Ghanaian. Please, honorable members, let's take note of the speedy decline of democracy in the world and the resurgence of undemocratic governance, even in our sub-region. Within these few months, we are aware of what has happened to a number of our countries. May the good Lord keep us far away from those developments. We all understand that old habits die hard. And this is because these habits develop into a way of life and a culture. And it takes a long time to change cultures. So I believe with time, focus, and determination, these old habits will give way. And instead of any of us having our way, the national interest will be the one that will have its way. They're saying that I am in government and I must have my way. They're saying that I'm in opposition and I'm to oppose government. All this shall come to pass. And it's important for the political elite to understand the democratic process as a process encompassing a variety of interests and requiring cooperation, compromises, and consensus arrived at through bargaining, so that at all times this will be made in a framework and decisions will be made in a framework of broad coalition. Professor Nsing drew our attention to a book written by him on these matters long time ago. Our own Professor Nsing. Those who have read it will confirm what I've said. But I want to assure all of you, I have so much confidence in the commitment of the Ghanaian to democratic governance. And I know the willpower and the can-do spirit of the Ghanaian will see us through. I am optimistic that these teething challenges will be turned into opportunities sooner than later. But apart from what I've just said, let's always keep in mind that one cannot sow what is wrong and reap what is right. One reaps what one sows. And again, I repeat this cliche: whatever you do it for yourself. These are all natural truisms. Please, honorable members, whatever you say or do as a member of parliament, as a leader, be guided by these natural and divine determinants of life. It's also important to acknowledge that in the midst of disharmony and discord, Parliament has given a clear indication of taking advantage of the opportunities offered by a hung parliament. It ought to be clear to Ghanaians by now that Parliament has taken some steps to claw back a bit of its lost image and brand as a willing tool of the executives. This gives a glimmer of hope that Parliament will not continue to be in the belly or a rubber stamp of the executive. I'm not just talking about if parliaments after this. So whether you are on the right or on the left, you'll be seen as part of governance and inclusiveness in the sharing of the national cake. The unique architecture that Almighty God graciously gifted to the country through the 8th Parliament of the Fourth Republic must be appreciated by all lovers of democracy. Let's give the hung Parliament a chance. Clearly, there is no opportunity now for a roaring and tumultuous majority vote, which sometimes gets it catastrophically wrong. Neither is there an opportunity to be an obstructionist opposition. The unique composition of 137 members apiece, with equal numbers in terms of the gender distribution of 117 males and 20 females on each side of the House, and just one independent member altering the equation, give this Parliament a unique membership structure indeed. It's with this I call on beloved Ghanaians to know that we have no choice than to comply with the dictates and consequences of this new order, which comes with such a composition. Indeed, it captures one of the four important traditional insignia of the parliamentary logo. Many of you look at the logo
questions. The Speaker, you may admit statements to be made in the House by honourable members in accordance with Order 72. Papers may be late during the week and reports from committees may be also presented to the House. Speaker, motions may be debated on their consequential resolutions if any taken during the week. Speaker, the Business Committee also takes this opportunity to welcome all honourable members back from the Christmas recess, which is believed to have been very refreshing to them. As the House may be aware, this first meeting is expected to be very demanding of honourable members, since a number of bills and other important parliamentary business will be considered at this meeting. Speaker, bills that may be presented to the House for now number about 68. Instruments that are being processed to be delivered to the House number about 80. And there are 400 questions that have been filed. And indications are that the number would climb up since members have returned from their constituencies and, as usual, after the interactions with constituents, would want to reflect the needs of constituents at question time. Mr. Speaker, for this reason, the Office of the Leader of Government Business is consulting and conferring with the ministers to determine their respective prioritized agenda for the meeting. It is hoped that by this joint effort, the House will be assisted to make judicious use of the limited time that is available to the House. Speaker, His Excellency the President, in accordance with Article 67 of the Constitution, will at this meeting deliver to the House a message on the state of the nation. Speaker, so given the tall order of business that you have, members are entreated to brace themselves up to the task ahead. Speaker, at the moment there are 4 public bills before committees and 5 private members' bills before Parliament. In this regard, the committee takes this opportunity to urge committees with those referrals to expedite action on same for the consideration by the House. Speaker, as honourable members will recall, the House was expected to conclude the consideration and passing of the Electronic Transfer Levy Bill 2021 by the end of the 3rd meeting of the first session. Due to unforeseen circumstances, however, the House was unable to consider and pass the bill at the end of the meeting. It was therefore within the contemplation of the Business Committee that the bill will be scheduled for consideration by the House during the first week of the first meeting of the 2nd session. However, upon consultation with the sponsoring minister, the committee is not able to program same for this week after resumption. Honourable Minister for Finance is undertaking further engagement with stakeholders and sections of the general public in respect of some concerns that have been raised on the bill. The committee would, in all probability, Mr. Speaker, program the bill for consideration during the 2nd week of this meeting, and honourable members are therefore encouraged to participate fully in the consideration and conclusion of the processes of the passage of the bill for the benefit of the economy. Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order 160 and subject to Standing Order 53, the committee submits to this honourable House the order in which the business of the House shall be taken during the week. Speaker, given the distance we've travelled, I don't intend to go through the entirety of the agenda proposed for the week, except to plead with the Hansard Department to consider the report as having been read and capture same in the Hansard. Speaker, to also propose that the urgent questions slated for today may be taken subsequently at another forum. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Honourable members, you have heard the chairman of the Business Committee in the person of the Leader of Government Business this is the time for you to make your comments on the report. Yes, Honorable Ablakwa.
I'm most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, there's a preliminary concern. The nomenclature of the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs appears to have changed. I see here Minister Leader, and Leader of the House. Has he become the leader of all ministers, or is it a North Korean kind of title that the Honourable Majority Leader now has? And considering that, Mr. Speaker, he shocked all of us when he said that we have technically approved the e-levy. I don't know if there has been some technical changes to his position as is now minister leader and no longer Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. So the Speaker would like to know exactly what is happening. But Mr. Speaker, on the more substantive matter, I want to find out from the Honourable Majority Leader. He gives us an indication that the message on the state of the nation will be presented by His Excellency the President during this sitting, during this meeting. But he stays away from specifics. Is the Honourable Majority Leader able to give us a more specific indication so we can prepare ourselves accordingly? Then finally, Mr. Speaker, I also observe that the business statement is silent on very important motions that the Right Honourable Speaker has duly admitted. For example, the Sputnik V probe work had already been done and the final decision is pending. The business statement is silent on that. Motions like the Frontiers Healthcare Services matter, which requires a probe, recruitment into security agencies, the COVID-19 expenditure probe. There are quite a number of, at least about 8 motions, private members' motions, calling for bipartisan investigations, which the Right Honourable Speaker approved. But none of that appear to feature in the business statement. Is the Honourable Majority Leader able to explain why the business statement is silent on those important motions? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Suhini.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to commend the Business Committee for within the short time that they met, for coming up with a program for the week. The Speaker, I'm however worried that the business for the week is silent on a disaster that the nation is currently recovering from. The explosion at Bogoso. The Speaker, this House needs to be appraised with how that happened and how the nation is catering for the human disaster that has also arisen as a result of this blast. The Speaker, the pictures and the videos we see on our screens are heartbreaking. And if the ministers of lands and natural resources with oversight on mining, the Minister for Interior and that's for Environment, are not prepared or ready to brief the House, I will urge the Business Committee to shadow them
to take this as a public interest matter that the people of Ghana deserve to be briefed on, and for us to be assured of the steps that are being taken to ameliorate the suffering of the people in Bogoso. Mr. Speaker, I therefore will wish to urge the Business Committee to this week.
Honourable Member, an extensive statement will be made this morning on that issue. So just hold your fire. You get the opportunities to comment on it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Then I hold my fire and possibly contribute to the statement when it is finally made, and I make an appeal for some investigation by this House into the circumstances that led to the matter. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, let me listen to Honourable Oku Vanderpoy. Then I can come back to Honourable. Is that Edward Bauer? Oh, I see. I think the research did some good job of trimming of your body. Yes, Honourable Oku Vanderpoy.
Right Honourable Speaker, I stand to seek your guidance on a matter. During the last meeting, Mr. Speaker, I made a statement on the floor concerning the numerous attacks that has been meted out to members or operators of the Momo business. And it was ably supported by several members of this House. Mr. Speaker, the statement was referred to the Committee on Defense and Interior. And Mr. Speaker, no report has come on that situation. So I'm seeking your guidance as to what to expect. Because members of our nation who are affected, some of them got killed in the numerous attacks, and they want to know what this House would do for the situation that they have found themselves in, and their businesses that as a result of these attacks is collapsing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Edward Bauer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I just need some clarification from the majority leader. If you look at 5, that's the second page. On item number 5, that's the electronic transfer levy bill 2021. The first paragraph seems to suggest that the bill has not been passed, but the same majority leader has been quoted on that's in the Daily Guide, 21st January, that the bill has been technically approved. I just want him to reconcile the two, particularly as he was the same person who said that, and he's also the chairman of the Business Committee. He should be able to reconcile the two so that we are sure about where we are.
Minority Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the business statement, that's page 2. That's item 5, where the electronic transfer levy bill is stated. The chairman of the Business Committee is indicating that the finance minister is sorting or seeking to get ample time to go and further consult. Mr. Speaker, let me state, as a matter of fact, throughout this period of the recess, we on this side were never consulted or talked to about this, about the electronic transfer levy bill. And Mr. Speaker, at the Committee of Finance, our side of this House requested that as part of the practice of this House and supported by the Constitution and the standing orders, we should open up for people to bring memoranda for the engagement, and we said there was no time. But now we are giving time to the Minister of Finance at his request. We should wait for him to do consultation, but we cannot even give this House time to consult. Mr. Speaker, I want to make reference to the 1992 Constitution, and precisely Article 106(4). And with your permission, Mr. Speaker, I read: whenever a bill is read the first time in Parliament, it shall be referred to the appropriate committee appointed under the Article 103 of this Constitution, which shall examine the bill in details and make all such enquiries. In relation to it, as the committee considers expediting, as the committee considers expedient or necessary. You go to committee, and Mr. Speaker, this is also supported by our standing orders 125, which is just a verbatim lifting of what is in Article 106(4). Now, the House of Parliament cannot get time to do consultation, but the minister should be allowed a whole week to go and do. And then he comes to tell us in his consultation what he has seen or he has heard. Why are we not, the committee, equally not going to make time for this House, and for that matter, the Finance Committee, to engage the public? So that, yes, because this is how we carried bills in this House. Mr. Speaker, when the human value bill, the gay bill comes to this House, even when we wanted that to be fast tracked, the committee is now calling the people in fives. There's 5 people. Come and let's hear you. And people are repeating the same point, simply because the government side are not interested and they are delaying the passage of that bill. Now this one that we are saying that give time for proper consultation, because it's going to even affect more people. That one, the House cannot do the consultation, but the Finance Minister can go and get time to further consult. Mr. Speaker, it is this attitude that creates the unnecessary tension and the unnecessary behavior that we all see, which we all condemn. But Mr. Speaker, let's do what is right, so that it will be easier to get and go along with the people of our country, instead of these tricks of others thinking that they are smarter than the others. When everybody is planning or strategizing, that's what creates the problem. But let us do as it's always done in the House. Right. That's the only way that we can be able to get sanity and be able to go together in whether approval or disapproval of this. Mr. Speaker.
What's the name? It's electronic transaction or legally?
No, it is electronic transfer.
No,
but the bill. Mr. Speaker, so with this comment, I want to urge that this House should make time for the committee to also consult. Not only the Finance Minister should go and consult, so that they can compare whatever they are hearing from the civil society or our citizenry. That will help inform the decision that this House will take. With this comment, Mr. Speaker, I hope that the Business Committee will make time for the House to further consult. Thank you very much.
Let me allow the Majority Chief Whip to make a comment before
Speaker,
I come to you.
Respect to my colleague, I took time to listen to him, and I heard him, the latter part of his presentation, use the word tricks. I think it's out of place, and he knows best. Nobody is in this chamber to engage in tricks. So he should just depart from these words. Stay clear of a word like trick. It's unparliamentary. You should retract that. And Speaker insists you should retract the word tricks. Engage the usage of tricks. It's unparliamentary.
Honorable Minority Chief Whip. Your attention has been drawn to the use of the word tricks in your presentation, which is according to the appreciation of parliamentary language unparliamentary. What do you say to that?
Mr. Speaker, I have no problem withdrawing the use of the word tricks. But to say that, Mr. Speaker, we need to be sincere in all the actions that we, both sides, take for the good of this House. Without any problem, Mr. Speaker, I withdraw the use of the word tricks that my colleague was drawing attention to. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister for Communications. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I distinctly remember that during the conclusion of the debate on the budget, the Finance Minister asked and prayed this House to be given time to consult all sides of the House in view of the views that had been expressed during the debate. Mr. Speaker put the matter to vote, and this side of the House voted unanimously against giving the Finance Minister time to consult them on the issues that had arisen out of the budget. I'm therefore surprised that now they are seeking to be given the opportunity to consult or to be consulted on the e-levy and on other matters arising from the consideration of the budget. They have indicated clearly, as it's recorded in the proceedings of the House on that day, that they are not interested or desirous of being consulted on any matter to do with the passage of the budget. So why this sudden about thing? I would like them to explain to the good people of Ghana why.
Honourable Minister for Communication, the issue that has been raised is that when a matter is presented to the House and referred to the committee, is a committee that will be enabled to continue to do consultations of the civil society and whatever stakeholders to assist them in the preparation of the report for the House for consideration. And that the committee that we referred it to was the Finance Committee, and that the Finance Committee was not enabled to do the consultation. But the sponsor of the bill I am just summarizing what was submitted. And therefore, he was thinking that it is not the Minister for Finance who sponsored the bill that will now be given time to do the consultation of stakeholders, but that the Committee on Finance should be the proper instrument to be used by the House to do the consultation. That's the issue that he raised. And as to whether, Honourable Minister, Honourable members, please. As to whether the consultation being done by the Minister of Finance prevents the Finance Committee from doing its consultation is an issue that we have to consider. But I believe that when the matter or a matter is referred to the committee of the House can conduct its investigations, consult stakeholders and other civil society actors, but that doesn't preclude the minister from also doing his consultation. And so I think that what we need to do, but I doubt whether we have the time now, is to allow the Committee on Finance to do the necessary consultations. But that doesn't stop the Minister for Finance from doing his consultations. This is not a matter open to debate. And, honorable members, your attitude and body language will not help the situation. Honorable members, I'll be compelled. I have the list of your names, and I'll be compelled to be naming members of Parliament. That has serious consequences when you are named on the floor. So please, let's exercise patience, listen to each other. We have agreed to disagree. How we conduct that shows our maturity as an individual and as a house. We all agree that we need to work together and build consensus on these matters. Honorable member, if it is a government policy and the government wants the approval of the House, hasn't the House got the right to inquire into that policy? So why do you say that is government policy? So what? The House cannot query it, debate it, and support government. That process alone educates the public more. Please, we are dealing with the report from the Business Committee. Minority Leader. Honorable members, you don't do my work for me. Please. Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I needed to indulge you and the chair of the Business Committee to make some observations on the Business Committee report. But once this matter has been raised by the Minister for Communication, I need to put it right in the record that there is a clear distinction between approving budget policy principles and subjecting a bill submitted in accordance with Article 106 of the Constitution to the lawful due processes. And therefore, the particular day that this side, without any regret, stated strongly that we will not accommodate any engagement with the Honorable Minister of Finance, Mr. Speaker, was on the policy principles, which meeting was at your request in your office, to which we shared our position before we came here with the Minister for Finance. So that was for the approval of the entire budget statement with its accompanying modifications, and we moderated even our position based on the discussions and consultations that we so had. So take note that that was about budget policy principles when we stated those issues. And Mr. Speaker, before you in private and before we came and engaged here, we indicated to him that come to the floor, it's a budget, we will state our issues, respond to them. If they were satisfactory, we will proceed thereon. What the Honorable Whip and Honorable Muntaka, Mr. Speaker, is seeking to do for the abundance of caution, Mr. Speaker, I want to refer you to Standing Order 125. and then come back to Article 106, which is a repeat of Order 125. And Mr. Speaker, it reads, when